let's start with the different types of chemical reactions. The direct combination reaction. The direct combination reaction is the reaction where what happens? Two or more reactants combine together to give one product. Two or more reactants, that the reactants may be two elements, maybe two compounds, or maybe an element or a compound, or more than two reactants can be there. They can combine together to form one product. Then that type of reaction is called direct combination reaction. For example, hydrogen react with the chlorine in presence of diffused sunlight, give hydrogen chloride. In the same way, when paper is burned in presence of oxygen or air, then it will form carbon dioxide. So coal is burned, then it will form carbon dioxide. Magnesium ribbon, when it is burned in air or oxygen, then it will form magnesium oxide and produce dazzling white light. So that is magnesium burn in oxygen and produce dazzling white light and give residue of magnesium oxide. So these are all examples of direct combination reaction. Even lead sulfide react with oxygen gives lead sulfate, or carbon monoxide when treated with oxygen then form carbon dioxide, or ammonia when react with hydrochloric acid form ammonium chloride, or when quicklime is added to the water it forms calcium hydroxide or slaked lime. So these are all examples of direct combination. So here you can see that the two reactants combine together to form one product. But there is a difference between these three reactions first and these reactions. Why here? Two elements combine together to form one product. So these type of direct combination reaction where elements combine together to form a product, then that type of direct combination reaction we call it the synthesis reaction. Synthesis reaction. While these are known as the direct combination reaction. Even photosynthesis is considered as the combination reaction. Why? Because here what happens, the number simple substance combine together to form a complex substance. Simple substance means carbon dioxide and water is there and combine together to form a complex molecule, that is glucose. So photosynthesis is also an example of direct combination reaction. Now next one is the second type of reaction, that is the chemical decomposition reaction. This is the reverse opposite of direct combination reaction. In direct combination reaction, two or more reactants combine together to give one product. While in chemical decomposition reaction, what happens? The one reactant is there and then it will decompose either in presence of heat, light or electricity or some other condition and decompose and give two or more product. Then that one is known as chemical decomposition reaction. So here the reactant is one but the products are more than one. Then that one is what? That is the chemical decomposition reaction. This direct combination reaction can be represented in this way. A plus B will give you AB. So that is what? That is a direct combination reaction representation. And how we can represent the chemical decomposition reaction? Here it is AB, a compound is there which will give you either the two elements or two compounds or more than two products. So example is when mercuric oxide is heated, which is red in color, when it is heated it will give mercury plus silvery, it is silvery in appearance and give oxygen gas. Again, when electricity is passed through, electric current is passed through the water, then it will decompose and give hydrogen and oxygen. And silver nitrate, a compound, will decompose in presence of light or little bit heat and then give silver, a reddish brown gas, that is nitrogen dioxide, and a colorless gas, oxygen. So in this way what happens, here one compound is there and that will decompose and give you two or more product. and that is what? That is the chemical decomposition reaction. Even it is known as decombination reaction. More examples are there. Red lead, which is red in color, when it is heated, then it will give lead oxide and oxygen. Lead oxide, it is yellow in color, yellow colored lead oxide. Red colored compound decomposes and give you yellow colored compound, and along with that a colorless gas which rekindles a glowing splinter. We know that how we can identify oxygen, that oxygen gas rekindles a glowing splinter. Then aluminium hydroxide, when it is heated, it will decompose and give aluminium oxide plus water. Calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate, when it is heated, it will give calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Quicklime plus carbon dioxide, which turns lime water milky. In the same way, lead nitrate, when it is heated, it will give yellow residue of lead oxide, a reddish brown gas, that is nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. This easily we can carry out in the all these in the laboratory. Now suppose lead nitrate salt, when it is taken in the test tube, it is white in color, and when it is heated, then what will happen? It will give you the yellow colored lead oxide as residue within the test tube, and then we will get a gas, that is a reddish brown gas, nitrogen dioxide, and another gas, a colorless gas, that is the oxygen. So here the three products are obtained by the decomposition of one compound. So this is all about the chemical decomposition reaction. These examples show that the two compounds, here a compound is there and decompose and give you two elements. Here one compound give you two elements, and this type of reaction is known as analysis, because this is used to analyze the elements present within a given compound. So this is analysis. This is the reverse of synthesis. Synthesis means where the two elements combine together to give one product, and here one compound is there and it will decompose and give two elements, two or more elements, only elements, no compounds. So that one is what? That is the chemical decomposition reaction, coming under the category of analysis reaction. Okay. Now we will discuss about the decomposition of hydroxides, carbonates and nitrates of metals. Now if it is a hydroxide of potassium and sodium, then they are stable towards the heat. Means they will not decompose on heating. For example, potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, because they are highly reactive metal. So potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide, that when they are heated, then nothing will happen. No reaction, no decomposition. But when calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead or copper, these metallic hydroxides are heated, then always they will produce metallic oxide, metallic oxide plus water. So suppose if I am taking zinc hydroxide, then zinc hydroxide, when it is heated, it will decompose and give zinc oxide plus water, H2O. Or if I am taking suppose lead hydroxide, PbOH whole twice, then that will also decompose and give lead oxide plus water. So zinc hydroxide, when it is heated, it will give zinc oxide water. Lead hydroxide will give lead oxide water. In the same way, copper hydroxide, when it is heated, it will give copper oxide and water. You know that zinc oxide is yellow when hot and white when cold. Lead oxide is yellow in color, and copper oxide, that is a black residue. But mercury and silver, so they are least reactive metals. So what happens when they are heated, then they will give what? All these mercury or silver hydroxide, when they are heated, then they will give the metal plus water plus oxygen. So for example, when mercury oxide is there and when it is heated, then mercury hydroxide, then when it is heated, it will form mercury oxide plus oxygen plus water. mercury, oxygen plus water. In the same way, when silver hydroxide is heated, then it will give silver plus oxygen plus water, and then balance it here 4, here it will be 4 and 2, and this one is also 4, 4, and this is 2. So it means when hydroxides of the metals are heated, then potassium and sodium hydroxide is stable towards the heat. They will not decompose because they are the hydroxides of highly reactive metal and very stable. But other than those calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead or copper hydroxides are heated, then always they will give metallic oxide along with the water. Like zinc hydroxide, when heated, it will give zinc oxide plus water. Aluminum hydroxide is heated, it will give aluminum oxide and water. But mercury and silver, they are the least reactive metals. So what happens? Initially, they will form oxides of the metal plus water, but these oxides of the metal are even unstable. So with a little bit heat, they will decompose and give metal and oxygen. So overall product is what? Metal plus oxygen plus water. So silver hydroxide when heated, silver, oxygen and water. Now next one is that when carbonates are heated, what happens when carbonates are heated? Carbonate salts of potassium and sodium, they are also stable. So what will happen? They will not decompose. What? These metals. Again here, no decomposition. When heated, no decomposition. But when these metallic carbonates are heated, they will give metallic oxide plus water. So when these carbonate salts are heated, carbonate of all these metals are heated, then what will happen? They will give metallic oxide, MO plus carbon dioxide. Okay, so here the if I am thinking about zinc carbonate, ZnCO3, and when it is heated, it will give zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. Lead carbonate, when it is heated, PbCO3, then it will give yellow colored lead oxide plus carbon dioxide. Now, how will you identify carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide, when passed through the lime water, turns lime water milky, but no impact on potassium permanganate solution or potassium dichromate solution. There will be, when carbon dioxide is passed through KMnO4 solution, potassium permanganate solution or potassium dichromate solution, means K2Cr2O7 solution, then no impact, no change in color is observed. But when it is passed through lime water, it turns lime water. And now this same thing, the mercury and silver, least reactive metal. So when they are heated, they will form the metal plus oxygen plus carbon dioxide. So if silver carbonate Ag2CO3, when this is heated, then it will, what it will give? It will produce silver plus oxygen plus carbon dioxide. We must have to balance the equation whenever we are writing the equation. So carbonates, potassium and sodium, highly stable, so they will not decompose, while the metals like calcium, sodium, magnesium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, copper, when they are heated, the carbonates of these metals are heated, then what will happen? They will produce the, they will give lead oxide and carbon dioxide, or zinc oxide, carbon dioxide, means the metallic oxide and carbon dioxide. And when mercury and silver carbonate, they are heated, they will decompose and give the metal plus oxygen plus carbon dioxide. They will not give metallic oxide, they will give instead of that metal and oxygen. Now we will discuss about the nitrates of all these metals. Nitrates of these metals, potassium and nitrate, here potassium and sodium nitrate, they are not so stable, they will decompose, but they will give nitrite of the metal and the oxygen gas. So if it is potassium nitrite, potassium nitrate, then they are not so stable, so they will give metallic nitrite, MnO2 plus oxygen. So potassium nitrate, when it is heated, potassium nitrate means KNO3. When it is heated, it will give potassium nitrite, KNO2 plus oxygen. In the same way, when sodium nitrate is heated, first it will melt, physical change, and then form sodium nitrite plus oxygen after decomposition. So potassium nitrate is formula is KNO3, sodium nitrate formula is NaNO3. You have to balance it, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Okay, and these metals, when they are heated, like metal nitrate, calcium nitrate, magnesium nitrate, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, or copper nitrate, when they are heated, they will produce metallic oxide. Along with that, two gases, one is a colorful gas, that is reddish brown gas, that is nitrogen dioxide, and another a colorless gas, that is oxygen. How can you identify nitrogen dioxide and oxygen gas? Do you know? Actually, nitrogen dioxide, it is a colored gas. So with its color, we can identify that it is a reddish brown gas. But oxygen, it is a colorless gas. And you know, I think you know that oxygen, it will rekindle a glowing splinter. So if these nitrates are there, when they are heated, they will form metallic oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So if I'm thinking about that zinc nitrate, ZnNO3 whole twice. When it is heated, it will give zinc oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Then balance it, it is 2, 2, 4. Now it is balanced. In the same way, when lead nitrate, PbNO3 whole twice. When this is heated, it will give you what? Lead oxide, yellow colored lead oxide residue plus a reddish brown gas, nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. This part is very important for the practical purpose. Class 9 practical chemistry, this is there. And if this mercury or silver, when they are heated, I am writing it here, that when they are heated, these salts are heated, then they will give what? Mercury nitrate or silver nitrate, then they will give again metal plus oxygen plus nitrogen dioxide. Yes, so instead of metallic oxide, you are getting here the metal. Like for example, if it is the silver nitrate, AgNO3. AgNO3, when it is heated, then it will give silver plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Then it will give you this one, balance it 2, then it is 2, and here also 2. So now it is balanced. Okay, so this is all about how hydroxides, carbonates, and nitrates of the metal decomposes on heating, and these are all thermal decomposition reaction, because the decomposition is taking place in presence of heat and this irreversible reaction. So these are what? We call it thermal decomposition reaction. Next one is bicarbonate salts. When they are heated, then sodium bicarbonate, when it is heated, it will give sodium carbonate, Na2CO3 plus water plus carbon dioxide. In the same way, when calcium bicarbonate is heated, it will give calcium carbonate plus water plus carbon dioxide. Okay, so if bicarbonate salts are heated, they will produce carbonate of the metal, water, and carbon dioxide. So this is all about how the decomposition of hydroxides, carbonate, nitrates, or bicarbonates of the metal occur. Now next is that we will discuss actually in your syllabus about the decomposition of ammonium dichromate, and blue vitriol is also there. So ammonium dichromate, that formula is NH4 whole twice Cr2O7, ammonium dichromate. It is orange colored compound, orange in color, but when it is heated, it will convert it into the green color residue. Why it will convert it into the green color residue? Because what happens on decomposition, it gives chromium oxide, water, and nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is a colorless gas, water a liquid that is also colorless, but this chromium oxide, Cr2O3, that is green in color. So when this salt, which is yellow orange in color, when it is heated, it will give you a green residue or a greenish chromium oxide. So the observation is that on heating, orange color ammonium dichromate converted to give green color chromium oxide. So that is your observation. In the same here, this compound, this we call it blue vitriol or hydrated copper sulfate. This is known as what? Blue vitriol or hydrated copper sulfate. You know, it is blue in color, that is why known as the blue vitriol. And since water of crystallization is there, that is why it is crystalline. Crystalline means definite geometrical shape is there, sharp edges are there, so it is crystalline. So it is blue crystalline. But when it is heated, it will remove its water of crystallization and give copper sulfate. So the product is copper sulfate plus 5H2. Now this copper sulfate is known as anhydrous copper sulfate. What? Anhydrous. This is hydrated, this is anhydrous. This is in the crystalline form, while this is in amorphous, means powdery form. No definite geometrical shape and sharp edges are not there. That is why it is in the powdery. If I will touch, it will just like the powder. So it is amorphous as well as the color is white. So when blue colored crystalline hydrated copper sulfate salt is heated, then it is converted to white amorphous anhydrous copper sulfate. Blue crystalline hydrated copper sulfate, when it is heated due to the loss of water of crystallization, it will give white amorphous anhydrous copper sulfate salt. So this is all about the decomposition reaction. Now next we will discuss about the displacement reaction. Displacement reaction, which is even known as the, we call it simple displacement reaction. Here in displacement reaction, actually what happens? When a more reactive element is there, then it will displace a less reactive element from its compound. A more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its compound in its aqueous state or maybe in the compound form. So, for example, the zinc is there. When zinc is treated with hydrochloric acid, HCl dilute, then it will give ZnCl2 plus hydrogen. This is simple displacement reaction. Why? Because this hydrogen is replaced by this zinc. This zinc will take its place and hydrogen is removed. So zinc chloride and hydrogen. So that is what? That is the displacement reaction, because here a metal which is more reactive displacing a metal which is less reactive, but it is in the compound. Again example is that if uh, copper sulfate salt is there. Copper sulfate, this is blue in color. Okay. Copper sulfate salt solution is there. When this is treated with the iron metal, then iron will displace the copper because iron is more reactive than copper and then form FeSO4, ferrous sulfate plus reddish brown copper. So here you will get the ferrous sulfate, that is green in color, greenish, and copper, that is reddish brown, or you can say reddish or pinkish also, or pinkish. You will get reddish or pinkish colored copper precipitate. Yes. So this is what the displacement reaction, where a metal which is more reactive displaces a less reactive metal from its salt solution. This is just like, suppose two friends are there and they are sitting together. One is very uh, not so strong, and another student entered into the class. He's very naughty and very what you can say strong. So what he will say? He will remove the weak student, a boy. A boy will remove a boy. If a boy and girl pair is sitting together, then he will remove the boy and sit there. Okay. So that is, and take its position. So a new group or a new pair is formed. So that is here also the same thing here. This iron is strong, so it will remove this copper and take its place, and the new compound is formed. So that is what a displacement reaction. Even we can represent it in this way. Suppose a compound AB is there. When it is treated with the C, C is stronger, so that will remove A, and CB plus it will give A. But if C is, suppose C is a positive, so it will remove metal, it will remove a metal. But if it is a non-metal, then it will remove the B. It will replace the B. Okay. So that is what, that is the displacement reaction. Now the thing is that how you will know that which metal will displace the which one. So we metals are arranged according to the activity series, where the more reactive metal are kept at the top of the series and least reactive metal at the bottom of the series. So according to that series, the metals are arranged. The metals are like this: sodium, potassium, means they are more reactive. Sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, 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 iron, lead, and lead tin. After that is the hydrogen. Then is copper. Copper is below hydrogen. Copper, then mercury, then silver, then gold, and then last is the platinum. So this is the series of metals arranged according to their reactivity. In some book you will see sometimes sodium is here, sometimes potassium is here. I think potassium you write better, potassium here and sodium here. Okay, so this is the most reactive metal and this is the least reactive. So here in this way, if I will think, then what I will write here, the reactivity decreases. Here the reactivity decreases. So you write it here, reactivity decreases. Or you can say that this is the least, it means this one is what, this is what, least reactive, reactive, and this is what, this is the most reactive. This is the series for the metal. Now in the same way for non-metals also the series is there, that is the fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, generally for the halogens, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. Here also this is what, this is the least reactive and this one is the most reactive. And here this is what, decreasing order of reactivity. Decreasing reactivity or reactivity decreases. So fluorine is the most reactive, chlorine is the least reactive. So that is in the decreasing order. Now next is that if, so this is all about your displacement reaction, which we call simple displacement reaction. Now I will discuss with you the double decomposition reaction. The double decomposition reaction, double decomposition reaction. In double decomposition reaction, what happens? The two reactants are there in the aqueous state. Then the positive radical of one compound will displace the positive radical of another compound. Or you can say that they exchange the ion. The positive radical will exchange with the positive radical, or you can say that the negative radical exchange with the negative radical. And that is what? That is the double decomposition reaction. In double decomposition reaction, so for example, if I am taking that sodium chloride, when it is treated with silver nitrate, both are in the aqueous state. Aqueous state. So this positive radical of sodium chloride exchange itself with the positive radical of silver nitrate. So this will come here and this will come here. So exchange, then it will give you what? Silver chloride plus sodium nitrate, NaNO3, a white PPT of silver chloride. So that is what double decomposition reaction. or even I can say that the chloride radical exchange with the nitrate. So two compounds are there in the aqueous state, both are soluble. The positive radical either, or you can say the negative radical exchange with each other and then give the oh, two products. And again, if I will think about this, that sodium hydroxide is there when it is treated with HCl, hydrochloric acid. Here also exchange of radicals will take place, and this will give sodium chloride plus water, H2O. So this is also a double decomposition reaction. Now there is a difference between this and this double decomposition reaction. Here you are getting one insoluble product, but here you are not getting the insoluble product. This is an acid react with the base, gives salt and water. So this type of reaction is known as precipitation double decomposition reaction, and this one is the neutralization double decomposition reaction. This is the precipitation double decomposition and this is neutralization. So double decomposition reaction actually of two types. One is the precipitation, and another one is the neutralization. In precipitation, always you will get, there must be one insoluble product. But in neutralization, both the products, whatever found, they are soluble. This is generally between acid react with the base, gives salt and water. And here, uh, the two aqueous solution, two substances or two compounds are there in the aqueous state. Salts are in the aqueous state, and then they will produce two salts. Among that, one is insoluble while other is soluble. One more example I am giving you for this one. Suppose barium chloride is there, BaCl2. Barium chloride when treated with any sulfate, either sulfuric acid or sodium sulfate. So suppose sodium sulfate, Na2SO4 or potassium sulfate, then it will form barium sulfate. It will give white precipitate of barium sulfate and sodium chloride. So that is the neutralization reaction. Here in this case, the neutralization reaction, suppose carbonic acid is there, H2CO3 plus sodium sodium hydroxide. Then it will give you what? Sodium carbonate salt, Na2CO3 plus water, H2O. So this is also neutralization reaction. Another type of double decomposition reaction is there, which we call hydrolysis. Hydrolysis of salt. Hydrolysis of salt. In hydrolysis of salt, what happens? The thing is that according to hydrolysis, the salt is treated with water. Means salt is added to the water, then the salt will decompose and give you the solution which is either acidic or basic in nature. Depending on that, suppose your salt is your sodium carbonate salt. This sodium carbonate salt, Na2CO3. When it is treated with the water, then it will hydrolyze and give H and OH is there. So here it will give NaOH. Water decompose H plus OH minus. So OH minus radical exchange with the carbonate. So it will give NaOH, and H is there. So that will exchange with the sodium. H will come here and it will give you sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid. Okay. It means this salt react with water, hydrolyze and give sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid, H2CO3. So here sodium hydroxide is what? It is a strong base. Strong base. While carbonic acid is what? A weak acid. That is why the solution, whatever we will get, overall the solution will be basic in nature. So it will convert the red litmus paper to blue, because it is basic in nature. Little bit heat is also required here, but little bit. Strong base, balance it. So if you balance it, it is 2 and 2 NaOH. So sodium is balanced. Let's see about the hydrogen. Hydrogen 2 here, 2 here, 4. So if I will write here, then it is 4. Oxygen, let's see, but it is oxygen here 3 and here it is 2. and oxygen here is 3 and here it is 2, so it is balanced. Now another salt, if I am taking suppose this sodium chloride salt. No, sodium chloride is made up of a strong acid, so strong base. So here I have taken the strong base and weak acid. Now I will take strong acid and weak base salt. Ammonium chloride. Okay. So ammonium chloride plus water hydrolyzed. Then it will give you what? On hydrolysis, ammonium hydroxide OH plus HCl. So this is what? This is a weak base. And this is what? Strong acid. So the resultant solution will be what? Since it is a mixture of weak base and strong acid. So the resultant solution will be what? Strong acidic. Resultant solution will be acidic in nature. So when ammonium chloride is added to the water, then the color of the litmus paper will change from blue to red because it is acidic. So this is a salt of strong base and weak acid, while this is a salt of weak base and strong acid. But a salt which is formed by the neutralization of suppose strong acid and strong base, then after that whatever the salt is formed, in that case the decomposition, if you strong acid or a strong base ionize to a large extent in the aqueous solution, and a salt which is formed by a weak acid and weak base, that will ionize to small extent, means their degree of ionization is less. But in case of a salt which is formed by a strong acid and strong base like sodium chloride, it is formed by sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. Or if you think about that ammonium carbonate, it is formed by a weak acid and weak base, that is ammonium hydroxide and carbonic acid. So the resultant solution will neither be acidic nor basic, it is almost neutral. Because and even here the if it is strong base or strong acid salt, then ionization is maximum, and it is weak base or weak acid salt, then by hydrolysis what ionization is minimum, degree of ionization is less, and that is why the salt is neutral. So this is what this is all about. Hydrolysis of salt means salt when treated with the water, whatever the solution, resultant solution, whether that is acidic or basic in nature. So that is your double decomposition reaction. So these are of different types of chemical reactions we have all discussed now today. That is the direct combination, decomposition, displacement, double decomposition reaction, where we have studied precipitation, neutralization and hydrolysis, then exothermic endothermic reaction, photochemical reaction which takes place in presence of light, electrochemical takes place in presence of electricity, catalytic reaction in presence of catalyst, thermal decomposition means decomposition of a compound in presence of heat, thermal dissociation, that is a reversible thermal decomposition reaction, that is thermal dissociation reaction. So this is all about this chapter. If you want to go through like physical and chemical changes in depth, then please you check the class 8 video, and about the conditions necessary for chemical reaction, then you can check the part 1 of class 9, this chemical reactions video. So this is all about this chapter.